Welcome to Last of Us Mondays on a Wednesday. I'm a little bit late, I know, I'm sorry. I've been busy, I'm an adult. But I'm going to give my thoughts on my review of The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2, and if you've read the title of the video, you can probably tell I'm not a fan. I was not a big fan of this. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are giving their opinions on this season so far and on this show, and there's been a lot of negativity, and I kind of want to make a couple comments about the sort of two different sides of discourse that I'm seeing of this show over the last 2 weeks. I'm seeing both a sort of blind praise for this show, as well as sort of an undeserved hatred for some other aspects. And what I mean by that is, I'm seeing a lot of people that absolutely hate this season so far, because of stupid things, like Bella Ramsey not being super attractive, I guess. The same way I'm seeing people defend this season like it's the greatest thing ever, and no matter what this show does, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, they're going to say it's actually a masterpiece. Now, I'm somebody that's a little bit in the middle. I have issues with the show. There are also some things that I like, but my main issues with this series, especially this last episode, tend to be the unnecessary changes that I don't really understand the point of. Changes that I feel like are watering down an already amazing story, a story that really doesn't need much change. And before I really get into the details, I'm not somebody that's saying the show should be a one-for-one remake. I'm not somebody who's going to complain anytime anything is different. My favorite episode of the first season of the show was Season 1, Episode 3, which was the Bill episode, which obviously was completely different from anything that happened in the game. I love that episode because it was able to change things, tell a new, unique story while not overall affecting the established, while not changing the established characters, including Bill, that we have. Bill was still the Bill that we know from the game, and Joel and Ellie still got to where they needed to be despite not having the same exact pathway. This season so far, I haven't really understood the changes because they changed some really strong dynamic character moments that are very integral to things that happen in the video game. They are also changing sort of the structure of the narrative and how it's being told, and I think they're doing it for some really silly reasons that are obviously that have come from the effect of sort of the outrage that was The Last of Us Part 2 when that game came out and the way a lot of fans reacted. So before I get into this review of Episode 2, one last thing, I will be talking about spoilers here. I can't really talk about this episode and why I didn't like it without talking about that big moment, and if you somehow still don't know what that big moment is, go play the game, go watch this episode, then come back. So yeah, this episode is the one where Joel gets got. Yeah, Joel is gone. He's dead. Abby kills Joel and sets Ellie off on her quest for revenge that's going to be the big story arc of the rest of this season and Season 3. And although a lot of what was done with this death scene I think does work, and it does really adapt what happened from the game in a way that somewhat works, there's a lot of changes here that feels so unnecessary and so stupid in this episode. First things first, this episode is two different story arcs. You have Joel and Dina who meet up with Abby, and they go off, and Joel eventually gets killed. You also have the story going on at Jackson, which they are being attacked by a massive horde of infected. Something that doesn't really happen in the game, at least not how it's shown in the show. So yeah, they are attacked by a swarm of infected, the size of which I've never seen. This is some like World War Z type stuff. It looks like the Battle of Winterfell, but in the daytime. And good, or kind of good, I guess. This added spectacle, I guess, is cool, and I had a good time watching it. I don't think the show or the story needed it, but I enjoyed this battle sequence. What I didn't enjoy is the fact that Tommy is at Jackson during this sequence, which I guess they needed an established big character from The Last of Us to give this sort of new story arc some credibility, but Tommy in the game is with Joel. He's with his brother, and he is there when Joel dies, which is a big aspect to Tommy's character arc for the rest of The Last of Us Part 2, where Tommy goes Terminator mode into Seattle and just rampages through looking for Abby. And Tommy's not there. He's at the community doing his own thing this episode. I don't understand that change. Instead, Joel is with Dina, a character that he really didn't have any sort of relationship with in the game. In the show, she's been kind of like another new daughter figure to him, because him and Ellie's relationship is obviously split. At the start of this episode, Ellie makes it kind of clear that, hey, me and Joel are actually working on things. We're going to be closer and closer. And at the start of the game, it doesn't really feel that same way, because this episode starts where that second game starts. It starts with Ellie going out. In the game, she goes out with Dina, and they have this amazing moment where they find this sort of weed farm, and it's really a great story arc between her and Dina early in that game that we don't get here because Dina's with Joel and Ellie's with the other dude. I can't remember his name. Just a change I didn't understand. I don't get it. Why take that moment with Ellie and Dina out? There's sort of this symbolic nature of it that they were at this place in this basement hooking up while Joel was out needing help. That is a big aspect of Ellie's sort of regrets that has now been stripped away. Now let's get to the big moment that just really kind of killed me. It's the whole presentation of Abby and how she kills Joel. So Abby in the game, when you're introduced to her early on, we just see her as this big, strong, brooding force. She's with her group. We don't know who she is. We don't know where they come from. We just know that they're looking for Joel. And when she kills Joel in the game, it's very simple. It's a very well put together scene, and the whole sequence of Abby meeting Joel. Joel saves Abby's life. They bring Joel back to their camp. There's a great moment where everybody's introducing themselves and they're like, "What's your name?" And he says, "I'm Joel." And all the characters slowly look at each other, at Joel, going, oh my god, the realization, the man they're looking for is in this room. It's such a brilliant moment. And then Abby comes out of nowhere and she does the job. She starts beating on him and Joel says,
"Why don't you say whatever speech you got rehearsed and get this over with?"
Pretty much telling her, give your speech and then kill me, right? And then Abby gives no speech. She just kills him. And then one of the big aspects is you don't know why Abby killed him. In the game, you have no idea why Abby just murdered this beloved character. All you know is that she did it, and now you're Ellie, and you're pissed. You're going on a revenge quest, and you want Abby dead. And the reason that story is structured that way is because at the halfway point of the game flips. You start playing as Abby, and you see her perspective. You see why, 10 hours into this story, that she did what she did. And the idea of the game is to take a player that hates this character, take this player who's been playing this game wanting to kill this character, and try to get that player to understand this character's motivation, to understand their point of view. And when that works, and it didn't work for everybody, but when it works and you're playing 20 hours into the game going, oh my god, I understand there is no bad guy. This is a story about the circle of revenge and how it's a never-ending cycle. It really is a brilliant story. Here, though, they take away all ambiguity and they do this whole death scene differently. So let me explain exactly how they do it, because it's completely different. So Abby brings Joel and Dina back. This whole sequence is pretty much the same outside of it being Dina and not Tommy, but they go back to their group, and instead of it being this big reveal of like, I'm Joel, and everybody having this great moment where they're all looking at each other like, holy shit, and Abby attacks, instead, Abby just goes to her group and says, guys, that's fucking Joel. Yeah, it's just kind of thrown away. And then they start attacking him, and the whole group's like, hey, let's kill him, let's not kill Dina. That all kind of happens the same way. But instead of Joel saying, like, give your pre-rehearsed speech, and Abby being a badass and not giving her pre-rehearsed speech, but just going to work, instead, Abby leans down and monologues for 10 minutes. Yeah. Who thought this was a good idea? Kaitlyn Dever gives a literal 10-minute monologue about exactly why Abby wants to kill Joel. She tells Joel, wow, you're a pretty handsome guy. By the way, you killed my dad. My dad was a doctor. He was unarmed. He was very nice. That was not very nice of you to do. Why would you do that? You're evil. You're mean. You're terrible. You're awful. And that's why I'm going to kill you, because I don't like you because you killed my dad. By the way, did I mention that you killed my dad and that gives me a justified reason for killing you? It goes on and on and on and on and on. And I can understand people praising a lot of the aspects of this show that maybe I don't like as much, but this is a perfect example of show, don't tell. And there's a big reason why in the structure of the game's narrative, they don't tell here. They show you, and they don't tell. They manipulate the players and the viewers' emotions by not telling you exactly what the show decides to monologue dump on you in this scene. It's so bad and blatantly dumb, and a clear attempt of Neil Druckmann in the studio to avoid sort of the backlash that they got from the game. So instead of letting the audience, the TV audience who hasn't played the game, sort of question for months on end and maybe a whole season why Abby would do this, they tell them right away so the audience can immediately go, oh, well, maybe she's justified. But that takes away sort of the anger that the audience feels that drives them and motivates them to be engaged in Ellie's revenge arc that's coming. How do you get into Ellie's revenge arc? You give the audience somebody to hate. You give them Abby, this character who brutally murdered Joel, and you don't know why. You don't have sympathy for her. You don't know what she's coming from. Now the audience doesn't have that because you immediately know, well, yeah, she did have a pretty good reason. I mean, she lost her father and it was really sad. So do you really hate Abby? I mean, we don't like what she did, but I don't know that audiences around the world are going to be so engaged in that revenge arc like they would have been if they presented Abby the same way she was presented in the game. Instead, they go, nope, let's give her a 10-minute long monologue dump with Pedro Pascal just awkwardly sitting there watching. And then he dies, and even the death was done, like, so silly. Now, this whole episode, by the way, takes place in a blizzard, and they established that the blizzard is so bad that if you're caught outside in it for even a couple minutes, you can get frostbite and die. Literally, Dina gets frostbite from being out there for just a little bit. So during Joel's death, as you know, Ellie comes in and she's watching Joel die, which, by the way, I think Bella Ramsey did a fine job of acting out that scene. She watches Joel get killed. Instead of getting hit over the head with a golf club, Abby stabs him in the neck with it. I don't know why they made that change, but it's whatever, it's effective, I guess. In the game, they knock out Ellie because, you know, there's this idea of, you know, maybe some time passes before Ellie wakes up and goes to Joel. In the show, they just kick her in the gut and they leave. I guess just assuming that that kick in the gut will be enough for Ellie not to follow them. And they go out and leave into the blizzard that it was just established 10 minutes earlier was so bad that if you're caught out in that blizzard for like 3 minutes, you're getting frostbite and probably dying. Yeah, they go out into that blizzard and start their trek back to Seattle. This is the dumb fucking writing that I can't get over. Why establish that the blizzard is that bad? Why not just find another major reason that Joel needs to get to Abby's crew because they don't have enough time to get back to the community, right? Find a better reason than saying the blizzard is so dangerous that you can't be out there, and then literally 10 minutes later have an entire group go out into the blizzard without even questioning their survival. I don't know, man. It's so stupid. I loved Ashley Johnson singing Through the Valley. That was good. Positive. I'm just so, like, detached from this show at this point. I love the game so much, and I just feel as though the people making this show don't love that second game as much as I do. Which I guess is fair, but they're telling the story in a different structure because they're afraid of backlash that I thought was kind of unwarranted for that second game, and now they're going to get even worse backlash because now the story doesn't work, or so far, it doesn't work. Listen, it's only 2 episodes, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and we'll see where it goes, but so far, I've been very disappointed with this season of The Last of Us. I'm very upset about it. It's breaking my heart. I'm very sad. Gonna go cry now. I'm kidding. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my day because it's just a TV show, right? And I'm sure all of you will agree with me on that. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more notifications. I'll see you in the next one.